We're in for a wild ride with this one, guys. On the bench for repair is a customer's Xbox One. This one is powering up and then immediately powering off right after. And one thing you can use to actually help diagnostics is the power brick that came with the Xbox. So it has a standby light. This should turn white if everything is good. And if it immediately shuts off, you have a short circuit. If it turns red, typically that is the power supply that's bad. Sometimes it can indicate issues on the board, but usually it'll just shut off. So it's white. That means everything is good. And now it's gone back to the standby mode. That's natural as well. Let's see if we can replicate this issue. See, now it's white again here. That's good. Hasn't shut off yet. Oh, that's interesting. So I'm hearing grinding right in here. You guys might not be able to hear it. It's pretty subtle, but the system has now shut off. With this Xbox, I'm pretty certain we have a dead hard drive based on the ticking and grinding and then just shutting off. Not a big surprise, decade-old plus hard drive that's been reading and writing processes back and forth for that whole time, and it finally croaked. I do have a new one here if that is the case, so not a big deal on that, and we can get that done together. I want to mention though, I used to do SSDs all the time, back when they were like $40. But now SSDs for a 1 terabyte cost anywhere between $120 to $150, which is just not acceptable. For an Xbox One to spend $130 plus, and then that's not including I have to make money and labor cost for installation. It's just off the table, unfortunately. So let's get it opened up, make sure that is the issue, and we'll go from there. We got the hard drive out, so let's put this in the PC and see if it is mechanically sound or not. And all the partitions just popped up in the PC, so we might actually have a good drive, which would be surprising. But we're going to see what comes up here. And it is good. Look at that, mechanically sound. So what would be causing the shutdown now? So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put this hard drive in, which doesn't have the operating system or anything. And if we get picture, and it stays on and it comes up to the error screen, then we know something is still faulty, either corrupted files or something with that hard drive. I just want to rule that out real quick. Okay, so new hard drives here. There's no operating system. We're going to power it on. What we should get is an error screen if everything with the hard drive checks out, or if the old one has corruption or something that's causing it to shut off, which would be honestly kind of a surprise to me. So fan spin. Nothing's coming up on the screen yet. And the fan actually just started ramping down. So that is really strange. This is definitely spinning and moving. So it's getting power to the hard drive. It's staying on a little bit longer than it did before. But we have no fan spin, so it's not even initiating a startup right now. Oh, there it goes, and it just shut off, and it shut this off as well. I heard it. So what is going on now? I think this repair did just get more complicated. So I'm going to take it apart, replace the thermal paste first, make sure that we're not getting some kind of temperature sensing issue where it thinks it's overheating and shuts off. I'm going to rule that out as a possibility and then try it again. But I don't think that's the case. I'll be back in just a second. I want to show you guys something a little strange here. So I was taking the screws out right here and I noticed this really deep dent on this, and right behind this is like where the power phase and RAM chips are, possibly right here. So we're going to have to investigate that. So that dent definitely came up and I think it hit the board, but there's no damage of any kind here. So I don't think that is going to be a cause for our issue, which is definitely good news. Naturally, I'm going to test the power phases, but usually if something in one of these phases goes wrong, the system just powers up and instantaneously powers off due to a short of some kind. So I don't think anything's wrong in here. Yep, everything in the power phases is perfect. There's no corrosion, there's no water damage. This side of the board looks good as well. So yeah, I'm just going to get some paste on here, put it back together, test it again. If we have the same issue, I'm going to show you where to go next. It almost sounded like the fan motor was trying to kick on, but nothing was happening, and I haven't turned it on yet. So let's get it turned on here. Okay, there's that. I don't know what that sound was. But we've got new thermal paste. This is activated. I can feel it spinning. Fan's dying down again. That's bad. There's that sound though. There, let me see if you guys can hear this. Crazy. There's the light's probably gonna go out any second here. Forgot I had the mic in my hand. Yep, there it goes. I have a couple ideas here. The first one being speculation that that smash mark on the back of this system that I was showing you is like this far from the APU. If that was enough force, they could have cracked the solder balls under the APU, making it so this isn't starting up and shutting down. The second thing is the NAND chip, which controls the software, firmware, everything could be corrupted. And during the initial post, it is shutting off. Those are the two things I think that's going on. So next step, I'm going to use a thermal camera and we're going to go under and see what's heating up as like the last thing before shutdown. And I guess just go from there. And you can see how close this spot is to the APU, which is right about here. So if you had this and you had enough force smashing this to bend it and it hits the board on the other side, I mean, it could absolutely crack solder balls under this. So that's that other thing I was speculating. Okay, so I got a heat sink off an original Xbox just to kind of, dissipate any heat while we're doing this test under the thermal camera. And let's see what we can find out. And I do have the hard drive plugged in too. This right here is the NAND and it's not even activating. There's no heat coming from it at all. Let's zoom in a little bit. Yeah, it's right here on my finger. See if I can leave a little spot. And nothing's happening there. I can almost guarantee you that that NAND chip is supposed to have a very small localized heat spot on it during the boot up process. It's getting the bootloader or firmware off of it and initializing the startup process, and it's not doing that. So that's why the system is kind of sitting in a stalled mode, waiting for it to start up, and unfortunately it shuts off because it's either faulty, corrupted, or just overall dead. So this is the chip in question here. It's a little 8 GB flash NAND chip. And basically it contains like bootloader, firmware, critical system data, and it is paired per console. So it's paired from here to the Southbridge chip right here and the APU. So in the case of this Xbox One, I'm going to consider it a no fix for me, especially when there's no light coming up in the thermal camera from that NAND chip. It tells me that it's probably completely dead. So if I was to take it off or attempt to put it on my PC and dump the files and possibly rewrite them onto another NAND chip, the odds of success in getting those encryption keys correct to match the system and everything, it's a lot of work to put into it, and I'm just not going to go there. But hopefully this diagnostic process was helpful for somebody, but it's a little bit too much for me to get into for an Xbox One, that it's not very practical, and it would be very expensive and time consuming to get into that. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will catch you later in the next video.